Good evening. Here we are on a Monday, and I hope you all had a great Christmas and are ready for 2020 to be over and done with. I know I am. 2021 might be a little bit of the same start, but who knows? It could end well. That's all we're hoping for at this time. But I'm ready for 2020 to be done and over with. But today, we are going to talk about a couple of the different games that took place from this week's matchups. So, are you ready to get your fix? Well, let's get started with the Saints taking on the Vikings on Christmas Day. Now, from the start, this game was really back and forth until the Saints defense stopped the Vikings offense a couple times to kind of slowly start, slipping away with, the lead and then eventually the win. Now, I thought that the Vikings did all right offensively for the most part, especially with Kirk Cousins going 27 for 41 with 291 yards and 3 touchdowns. With that stat line, you'd think the Vikings stayed in the game and actually had a chance to win, but that really wasn't the case, okay? I've talked all year on how the Packers can't stop the run. Well, the Vikings forgot the Saints could also run the ball, okay? And Alvin Kamara ran the ball for a record-tying 6 rushing touchdowns on 155 yards. Should have had 7. They decided not to give the ball to him, and Taysom Hill got the touchdown on that 1-yard line. But even just having 6, that's insane. That's incredible, especially when I'm pretty sure he only had 5 leading up to this game or 6 leading up to this game, and now all of a sudden, bam, he's at 10 or 11. And towards the top, leading all rushers with most touchdowns now. He's towards the top. I think he's top 3 or something like that. I believe Dalvin Cook is still number 1. But 6 touchdowns. I mean, what else could you ask for? That's a really good starting stat line coming out of that game. Okay, 6 touchdowns. Most people dream of getting 1 in the NFL or 2 in a season or something like that. But 6 in one game, that's incredible. Not much more you can say. Alvin Kamara, he literally just feasted on that Minnesota Vikings defense. Now, we all know this Vikings defense is not very good, okay, by any means. But they do have potential. This was just a very rough game for that Vikings secondary, and after taking a loss to the Saints, okay, it officially means that the Minnesota Vikings have been eliminated from playoff contention. So, I mean, we kind of seen this happening at the beginning of the year. Nobody really thought the Vikings were going to have a chance. Then they start winning. And then people are like, well, they have a shot, and they get in that playoff picture for 1 week. They lose the next, and then they're out of it, and they stay out of it. And here's where this season ends for the Vikings. They got one more game against the Lions. So I guess we'll kind of see where that game goes. It doesn't really matter. I expect a lot of the backups probably to come in and play with that starting group, kind of starting a little bit. Get those young guys in there. Get them experience. You guys aren't playing for a playoff game or a division title or anything like that. Get those young guys in. Get them some reps. See what they got. Because, going to this next draft, we got to figure out what we need or figure out what the Vikings need. I think they need, defensive line, especially a defensive tackle or something like that. But as of right now, they're out of the playoffs. Looking for next week. We'll see what happens. So let's switch gears to the New York Jets, who, by the way, have now won in back-to-back weeks. The Jets actually have 2 wins this season, and they're officially out of the race for that number 1 draft pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, and that's scary. Okay, I still think the Jets are the worst team in the NFL. Not by far, but they still are, with a couple of lucky wins to add to their resume. I mean, I think they beat the Rams, kind of got lucky there. I thought the Rams were playing some decent football before that game, and then the Rams, I believe, just lost again last night. So, and then they just beat the Browns yesterday. So 2 wins. Both these teams, or both the teams that they beat, are either in the playoffs or on the brink of making the playoffs, which leads me to think that either the Rams or the Browns kind of either took it easy or they just came into the game underprepared and gave the game away, which is probably the more likely thing. Is they thought, hey, this is the Jets. We don't have to play top-notch football. We can just play and we'll win. But no, that's not the case. Okay, this game for the Browns was a huge game. Okay, in that if Pittsburgh were to lose, which they didn't, and they were to win, they would have one more game where they could win the division. That didn't happen. Okay, and the Steelers won, and the Browns lost to a very bad Jets team, which gave the Steelers that division title. Now, with the Jets winning, honestly, I think they're in worse hands than they now might have to stick with Sam Darnold for another year and draft other pieces to kind of help out, their defense, and maybe give them another weapon on offense, like a wide receiver, a running back, or, a top tier tight end. I'd go with wide receiver, running back first. But obviously, if they need that tight end, they can, find a way to get him, whether that's free agency or draft. But just get another weapon, okay? Honestly, this win for the Jets, it was impressive, okay? Because they literally did everything they could. Could think of like having, Jamison Crowder pass a 43-yard touchdown, or yeah, a 43-yard touchdown, and, just keep doing something. The Jets are just trying to be creative at the end of the season, which I don't believe them, okay? But they're not going to be much better next season because they're using everything they have right now. They have no pieces. Their quarterback's subpar at best. That also could be due to the coaching, because if we all remember, Ryan Tannehill, when he was with the Dolphins, his head coach was Adam Gase, and Ryan Tannehill went to Tennessee. We've seen what happened there, and now Adam Gase is with the Jets. We've seen what happens there. So who knows? Sam Darnold just maybe needs a change of coaching or a change of something, a scenery. Who knows? But they still have to stick with Sam Darnold. They have to, okay? You get those other pieces, and you might be on the brink of being with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they were bad, and now they're slowly looking better. I think the Jags, have potential. They definitely have a lot of potential going down the road and in the future. Gardner Minshew, I think, is just fine. I think he's going to find a starting job elsewhere in the NFL if they decide to go Trevor Lawrence. But, the Jets, they're right there. They just need to, break that thin line of that ice, and they should be fine in probably 10 years down the road, 5 to 10 years, hopefully down the road. But from right now, they're not that good. So finally, let's move over to last night's matchup between the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers, and which was a blizzard kind of game. We see, at least I've seen it. Probably many of you have seen that video of that Tennessee lineman walking out barefoot to honor his brother and pray before the game. He does it every game. But we just seen that snow, and the first thing you think of is, wow, okay, what kind of game is this going to be? Is it, got to protect the ball? Are they going to be able to run? Is it going to be slippery? How are these routes going to be? But that wasn't the case. Now, I did have a buddy tell me that he was a little worried, okay, but with how the Packers were going to handle Derrick Henry. Because like I've noted more than a couple times, the Packers just can't stop the run. And I just noted a little bit ago talking about the Vikings. However, though, I told him, don't worry too much, okay? Because, yeah, we know that Tannehill can throw the ball, and he's doing just fine this year. He's actually doing a little bit better than last year, I believe. So, and the Titans have some pretty solid receivers. But their identity is that run game. So all the Packers really have to do is stop the run and focus on stopping the run. Okay? And they're going to be just fine. Yeah, they may get a couple big plays off the pass, but since this is a snowy kind of game, a blizzard type of game, you're going to have a lot of short routes. You have really good secondary, Jareer Alexander, King, those kind of guys that can step up in big ways and help you. So there's not much you would have to worry about in that passing game. You just have to worry about that running game. And I mean, it, like I said, it even helped that it was snowing a good amount, which meant passing is going to be tough, okay? But most importantly, protecting the ball was going to be tougher. And Green Bay did an excellent job of stopping that run game, where Derrick Henry almost held to 98 yards on 23 rushes, and he had no touchdowns. Yeah, 98 yards is still pretty good. That's what I think a lot of backs in this league should put up almost every game. About 60 to 80 is what I think really good running backs in this league should average at least a game. Usually we're used to seeing Derrick Henry the past couple weeks ball out 100-plus yards, 2 touchdowns, but no touchdowns and 98 yards on 23 carries. For Derrick Henry, that's probably not that good. Okay, passing-wise, the Titans' number one receiver in this game was A.J. Brown. He only had 43 yards on 4 receptions. Okay, Green Bay's defense knew what they had to do coming into this game, and in order to have a shot at solidifying that number 1 seed in the playoffs and getting that first round bye. Oh, and if Aaron Rodgers doesn't win MVP, I think someone forgot to watch all the film. Okay, every game that the Packers have played this year, because Rodgers, he's having an unbelievable year with 44 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. Okay, it was at 4 and he threw one last night, but big whoop. 5 interceptions this year, if you remember when I talked about before the season started, Rodgers is the guy who's known for throwing the ball away and, not taking those chances. Okay, but with 44 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, you have the right to throw that ball away. You have a right to take those chances or not take those chances, because you're still going to be just fine. Your team was 13-3 last year. Your team might be 13-3 this year, and you're having a really good year. Okay, the dude has just been balling out the entire year and leading a team that probably shouldn't be as good as they are, give or take a couple games, but he still finds a way to win, and he's the reason their offense looks like a walk-through practice, and there's a reason Green Bay continues to win games consistently with him at quarterback, and there's a reason Green Bay is always consistently in the playoff contention, or at least playoff talks. It's one guy, Aaron Rodgers. If you look at the Packers organization, there's two people, well, I guess there's three people that really kind of stand out in my mind. Vince Lombardi, obviously. Brett Favre. We've seen what his accolades are. And Aaron Rodgers. Okay, obviously you got Bart Starr in them, but like off the top of my head, boom, right there, if I were to think about it, Rodgers, Favre, and Lombardi. And so, like I said, my pick for MVP this season, hands down, no doubt about it. No, not even this guy right here, that red jersey. I mean, he's close, but he's not going to win it. I don't think he should. Aaron Rodgers for MVP this year is my season pick with no doubt. Well, that's going to end our discussion today, as tonight we got a pretty decent matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. Should be a very good divisional matchup. Patriots out of playoffs. Bills just looking to, find a better seed, even though they're going to play week 1 of playoffs. Anyways, though, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow, and you just got your fix with the Wicks.